Good morning, beautiful people.
Good morning.
I opened my eyes 3 minutes to 6. Literally jumped off the bed. So we're here. I forgot about my phone. I forgot about setting an alarm. I forgot about everything. But this situation is now in my system. No matter what happens, I wake up. The internal alarm is knocking me out of bed. Why?
Yeah, I had been drawing till 1 a.m.
I saw that.
Yeah, and woke up at 5, but I had to be with my little daughter in the bed for a while, and she wasn't happy that I actually slept separately from her all those 4 hours.
No.
So she didn't want to let me go. But yeah, yesterday we had an interesting conversation in Russian when we went live. And I didn't know why, but in the middle of the day yesterday, I was listening to another great Russian actor,
Yeah.
and heard some things. Well, while cleaning, I was just cleaning, and I know that's not unusual at all. I hear from many moms nowadays that they are doing their household chores, listening to some lectures on
Mm-hmm.
psychology or something. So I realized that I don't really study anything. I mean, I don't really listen to lectures these days. Well, for the last month or so, I have not listened to any lectures. But whatever I listen to, I'm learning, and that's really amazing. And Aliona, what the idea that I want to bring out today is in response and to continue the discussion we had yesterday,
Mm-hmm.
because we had one topic yesterday saying that, well, we have clients coming to us with one question: can you please teach us how to be myself? So being myself, what does it mean to be yourself? And to introduce this topic harshly, or I don't know how to say it, but I want to bring a conflict which I had in my family. Well, I come from a big family of three daughters, and I loved the time when every afternoon we would have dinner all together with my parents and my sisters, and we would sometimes have very long conversations.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember one sharp question, discussion that we were coming back again and again, but not too often, like maybe once in 5 years. But that conversation was about being yourself,
Oh yeah.
and but not only being yourself, but allowing yourself to choose a partner who is himself. Let's say it this way.
Mm-hmm.
And what the Russian actor I listened to yesterday said was that you don't have the right to be yourself. You can't just say that I want to be yourself, because that's not enough. You have to be a good person. You have to be a responsible person who takes the responsibility of literally everything in their life, because you have to be always improving yourself. So it's not enough, he says, to be yourself, because you have to guarantee that you are working on yourself. So it's not enough what you are. And I'll give you an illustration. In addition to that, he says that when we take a little person, a child, growing in the woods, in the jungle, and having no culture at all, because culture is what other people have created through centuries. So without that culture, without the language, without the perspective of a sequence of generations at least,
Mhm.
you can't be the person, like, I don't know, he said, it's not enough. Let's put it this way. It's not enough. You have
Being
to,
yourself is not enough.
yeah, you have to continue improving yourself. And that's what my dad used to say when he asked me in particular what kind of person I would choose as a partner. He was asking me that. And I remember that once when I was a teenager, I said that I wanted to find a partner who would be himself, being brave enough to be himself. And what my dad put and what that actor said repeated, and reminded me of that time, of those
Conversations, yeah.
conversations in the kitchen kitchen, was that if you talk to to a person suffering from some maniacal disorder or something, he is himself, a person who is literally deserving a prison sentence, a person who is a criminal, who is doing something totally wrong, killing people, let's say, that person, if that person is only trying to be what he was meant to, is not good enough. A human being living inside the community of other human beings to deserve our, attention, needs to be working on themselves.
Yeah, there's a very light-hearted topic for 6 in the morning. Right, darling. No, I'm just joking. I mean, it is exactly the topic that ultimately we have in our minds and in our hearts, and that's what we're working out for ourselves. And I've just realized, I think I've said the key thing. This is what we're working out for ourselves.
Yeah.
So it's very interesting. There's a few things I've noted down as you were talking. First of all, good work on your family dinner conversations. I mean, like, really? This is what you talked about when you were little? Like, wow. Seriously. Yeah. Like, how lucky is that? Like, can you imagine an average dinner conversation? Well, to be fair, I mean, I think I was also very lucky with my family dinners. But I think my parents mostly, it's interesting. I don't think, now that I'm really curious to try to remember what we talked about, and I would imagine it was more about me doing the right thing. I don't think the conversation was along the lines of being myself, but it was probably more about being a good person. What it means.
Was it really like personal stuff, or did you try to generalize as well?
Look, I was the only child growing up, which isn't it interesting, the dynamics between the two of us, because we can really discuss this really different, drastically different environment, right? Because I was the freaking center of the universe. I was the first child. I was the firstborn grandchild. I was the only child. Like, it was just out of control. Like when my poor cousin came along 10 years later, I was like, what the freak? Like I have to share strawberries with someone? Like what is wrong with that? You know, silly, but that's not the point. I guess my point is, wow, interesting. There's a long time, I haven't even thought about these things, but you're right. I think one of the reasons why being myself comes so easy to me is because that was the environment where I was growing up. That I had, well, first of all, I had very little reference point because there was no other little children next to me so that I can compare myself with that much. I mean, I did go to kindergarten and all that stuff, but you know, because I have a feeling that, as you said, we're growing, we're being in the company of other human beings, and we start comparing ourselves. But not only we start comparing ourselves, we become the object to be judged by other people. And then we start tweaking our behavior. I don't know, maybe to please someone or to meet someone's expectations about what we should be or do.
Alena, I'm wondering if you feel that you're answering my question. I mean, do you really feel you're continuing the conversation? It's just curiosity, because you have brought to me, from my perspective, you have brought a totally different topic, which is very interesting. But what I want to underline here is that, well, you started speaking about comparison, while comparing yourself to, well, let's say siblings, right? Siblings,
Yeah.
or other family members. And when I was saying something about our dinner conversations, I didn't mean that, but that really bothers me now because, well, I have I have a few children at home, and that really worries me that we discuss many things at our dinner these days, speaking about personal stuff, not trying to generalize, and that worries me. The moment I'm speaking to you, that really worries me. But what I want to say, as a kind of gratitude to my parents, well, we have a happy family, but what they actually did to us, they discussed books with us. And I remember that one of the books I was greatly influenced by when discussing that particular topic as a teenager was Martin Eden. Martin Eden is the person very, very close to its creator, Jack London, who is a self-made writer who literally created himself out of a human being who was not really, well, like, how to say, he was not lucky enough to have great education and great, background in terms of those huge possibilities which many of us might have had, right? But he made himself. And that's why when I answered my dad that I wanted to find a person who would, be himself, I was really thinking of, a personality strong enough to adapt, to develop, to,
Well, I think in order to make this more interesting for our listeners, let's swap our own understanding of what it means to be ourselves.
Yeah, sure.
So how do you, like, if you were asked, how do you know if you're being yourself? What do you think you would say?
Well, the reason I brought this conversation is that I'm working on this topic.
Of course. Well,
So I don't have a short answer, a short beautiful, phrase that would be a full stop to my research. So
no, but just tell us where you're at right now.
Yeah, so I was at a party with beautiful women. Some of them are mothers, some of them are just single ladies, some of them are married ladies without children on Monday. And a couple of them asked me what I was actually doing. Like, why am I so interested in all sorts of things and doing like dancing, singing? Seriously?
Why are you interested in so many things? What is wrong with you?
Yes.
Be normal.
Yes. Aren't you supposed to be, dead tired with all those kids and husband working every day away from home?
Yep.
So, yeah, and my answer was quite direct and simple. I said that I wanted to, try all those things and understand what really resonates with me at the moment. Though, well, I do have experience of learning lots of stuff, but I also have negative experience, so to say, when I thought I was not good at something, like singing, for example. Right? So what I'm trying to do at the moment, I'm trying to reestablish myself as a human being and see what resonates with me at the moment. So I'm trying things instead of just speculating. I just jump into the new activity and see if, and try to feel, and not only feel, but also, take notes. Take notes and write down what I experience deeply. And I'm not saying about a diary. I don't keep any diary at the moment, but I write poems and I write my own blog, a personal blog, where I try to, have those points of fixation of how I feel. So that's what I'm doing. So I'm working, trying to figure out what I am before I learn how to be myself. And in this process, of course, as we discussed yesterday, in the process of it, I'm already trying to be myself because I am a student. One of the roles which is so, how to say, one of the social roles which I have is a student. A student who is experienced enough in learning, but also a student who is also practicing and never tired of studying something new. So can you share your ideas of what it means for you being yourself?
My beautiful husband is off to work. It's funny, you ask me a question and all I want to do is just shut up and sit there. I want to be the Buddha who brought out the lotus flower when he was asked about.
If this is what you feel like doing, we can pretty well do it. Why don't
sure.
we
No,
down?
We will. I guess we can later on, but I just noticed that was my first instinct, with a question.
But that's a good idea, I totally support you here.
I know you, my darling. We've done quite a lot of silence in our live broadcasts, haven't we?
Yeah.
I'm not surprised that this is what's happening now, because if you want to know whether you're being yourself, you can feel it. One way or the other, it's a feeling first. So I know that I've been on this journey for a long time as well. Because what happens is we all have glimpses of that feeling. But ultimately, every human being knows what it means. They have their own understanding, perception, which ultimately is a feeling. And for me, the question is, am I living my life just having glimpses of being myself? When I'm all alone and nobody's watching me, and I'm still not being myself. And then I'm starting to have glimpses of that when I'm up all alone. And then maybe something amazing happens in my life when another person comes along that I can be myself with. And then maybe an absolute miracle is going to happen when you realize that no matter where you are at, who are you with, what's going on, you can still be yourself. With anyone in front of you, with any situation that's coming your way, whether the camera is rolling or not. And then life changes. And then you can have different roles in your life and really enjoy playing them, because you can be a student, you can be a wife, you can be a mom, you can be a friend, you can be a teacher, you can be a consultant, you can be, I don't know, a cook, a cleaner, a gardener. I'm listing all of my roles, by the way, at the moment. You know, but you're not judging yourself as that role. You understand that it's you who are assuming that role because it's fun, because you enjoy it, because it develops you, because it makes life interesting, because you create something. And I'm grateful for you, because I can be myself with you. I enjoy being myself with you. Because our creative energy just goes, this is amazing. It's almost like when you're being yourself, it means that you're going to enjoy what you do, no matter what it is that you're doing. And I've also wrote the word good when you said being a good person. That was one of the concepts we're discussing.
Oh, well, I don't like that word because it's not close to what I was trying to translate.
But I want to say that I understand that word in the way that you do.
Okay.
Do you know what I mean? and this is what I wanted to point out, is that for a lot of people, being a good person means a very prescriptive and potentially very short list of qualities that can be judged as good, or rather it's a very particular image of a human being and the frames of behavior that you can judge as a good person. But if we're having conversation about being yourself, this is probably one of the worst frames that we can ever rely on. Because for me, a good person is someone who is being themselves. And if I, for whatever reason, forget to be myself, would poke me gently on the side and go, what are you doing? For me, a good person is someone who reminds me to be myself while being themselves in the process. But the actual behavior can look very different. And so, you know, when we had a conversation about emotions with you as well, I honestly feel, you know, this whole idea of happiness. Oh, sorry, we talked about happiness, right? Quite a few times. Is that for me, the definition of happiness is probably quite different from what a lot of people would think. Because for me, it's the really broad range of experiences and feelings. This is what happy means to me. It's not that tiny little dot at that end of the spectrum, which is this euphoria kind of thing. For me, it's having this feeling that I'm living a really full life because I have a very dramatic experience in the sense of the breadth of all the feels and thrills, and it's got all sorts of, you know, different vibes. And that's how I know that it's a full experience. So for me, happy life is a full life. So what you're saying to me that you're doing every day, I love that you're really aware of the experience that you're living. You're very aware. And you even write it down by Sweetie Pie. I love it. And usually it rhymes. So I'm just wondering when we're gonna publish your book of your poems.
Well, it's very easy. I don't see a problem in that, but I never set a goal. Yeah, it's very easy. You just pay. Well, I already am a writer on a website where you just pay money and the book is published. It's easy, but I never set that goal. You know, I don't think we have much time, unfortunately, because my third daughter is starting school today, and I have to go and, you know, help them get ready for school. But when listening to you, I was like, I hear what you say, but something tells me that I have to bring up one more topic, which is totally different. Well, maybe you see the connection. I don't know how it's connected, but speaking about dads, that's the only connection which I have. A dad who I've just realized that I was manipulated by that actor. I was manipulated when he said that the only important thing he was doing in his life was taking care of his family, his children and his wife.
Yeah.
And just listening to you, I understand that that was a huge manipulation. He was actually planning to say so. Though he repeated those words in the beginning of the show, in the middle, and at the end, I now understand that he planned to say that. And I don't know his reasons, but yeah, I'm very suspicious now. So to illustrate what I'm trying to say, just a small example. I have 5 children, and I think I've never, well, ask my friends, but I've never used my kids as an excuse not to do something and as an excuse not to be somewhere I wanted to be. And when I said I can't be there because of the children, I usually meant it. I mean, I usually meant that I can't be because I have to. But anyway, I know that it's a very good excuse for not doing something. I mean, having children is a very good excuse for not doing something. And I've seen many moms manipulating others, their friends, their family, their colleagues at work, everything. Just say, well, you know, I'm sick because I'm pregnant. That's why I can't work. That's why, please just do it yourself. And that's just the beginning, you know?
Of course.
Later on, the manipulations become more sophisticated. But I've just realized that I have seen dads manipulating others by using the concept that they're family men, and that's a shock for me. Well, literally, that's the insight of today's morning show with you, because I've just realized that the actor was repeating that idea because something has happened in his life before the show, which he didn't want to discuss in that show, saying that his family was the most important, actually excusing himself for not living in Russia. He's an immigrant, for not doing this and that. He was just excusing himself by his children.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a bit of a new discovery for myself, because that's what I know. I was feeling something when some fathers were talking to me. Well, I'm a teacher, and many fathers talk to me as you know, the fathers of my students. And when I was feeling that, I could not find that word. You know, I could not find the real reason of them bringing up one or topic or another. And now I understand that was manipulation, just using kids in order to bring up a topic to discuss with me. That's just a bit of a shock.
Well, see, my darling, I'm loving this because you've just helped explain this whole notion of being yourself even more. Because if a person is being themselves, they're not doing anything to manipulate anyone. And if they're sharing, it's sharing because this is what they're aware of right now. And they let you interpret. But what I love about what you've just said, because this is something that always comes up in client work and my personal life, it's this whole idea of seeing through other people and understanding exactly what their manipulation is. And the beautiful thing is, if you see what the manipulation is, their power is gone. They can't do anything. So I just want to congratulate you that you've just discovered and became aware of another manipulation in your life, because it means that once you're aware of it, it's not there anymore. I love being with you, my darling. And thank you to everyone who were with us. I'd be happy to see you giving me a little wink and a hi. And I hope you have a glorious day being yourselves. We'll speak to you next week.
See you next week.